गृहकार्यं येनापि न कृतमस्ति कृपया अनन्तरं करोतु। प्रश्नः अस्ति चेत् अनन्तरं लिखतु ईमेल् माध्यमेन। अत्र ससजुषोरुः इति पूर्वम् इदानीं किमस्ति अस्माकं श्रुतं श्रुत्वम् इति अधीतं सूत्रद्वयं ते अष्टाध्याय्यां त्रिपाद्यां 8441 8440 इति, परन्तु तत्पूर्वं कुत्वम् 8 to 30 इत्येव आरभ्यते। चोहुकुः चवर्गस्य कवर्गस्य आदेशः, चवर्गस्य स्थाने कवर्गः आदेशः स्यात् जलिपरे पदान्ते च इति अर्थः। So this watch becomes वाक्, अनन्तरं जस्त्वं भूत्वा वाग्। प्राच् तथैव प्राच् किं भवति? जय महोदय, प्राच् किं भवति? चोको
वाक्
प्राच् प्राक् प्राक् भवति। अनन्तरं जस्त्वं भवति चेत् प्राग्। प्राग् प्राच् प्राक् प्राग्। यस्, प्राग् कथं भवति? जस्त्वं। So the next one is 8 to 39 is Jastram. So Jastram happens 8 to 39. Right? After 8 to 30, 8 to 39, so it becomes Ga. Jastram. Sraj kim bhavati? Choku. Srag. Gakaraha. Srag. Vishaj. Bhishag.
Yeah.
What is the meaning of Bhishag?
This is Vaidya Shastra, that is doctor.
Doctor. Vaidya. Vaidya. Sich plus ta. Atra sich. The dhatuh. Ta iti कृत प्रत्ययः. So अत्र किमस्ति? झलि परे पदान्ते च. So all the first examples are in padante. इदानीम् अत्र पदमध्ये but झलि परे, झल् वर्णः परे अस्ति चेत्. So it is a ta झल् वर्ण. What is झल् प्रत्याहार? झल् प्रत्याहारे किं के वर्णाः सन्ति अत्र? Once again, quick one. झल् प्रत्याहारे किम् अस्ति निर्मला भगिनी?
ज भ ग ग ध ध ज ब ग ड द ख फ छ ट थ छ ट त to the end. Ka pa ya sha sha sa ha.
So कथं सुलभतया कथं तत्र स्मरणं भवेत्? So what is excluded, what is included, that we can remember easily. So jhal is starting from ja to here, right? Ja to this, ja to her. So what is included or what is excluded? All the swaras are not there, obviously. Then ha is already here. So then other than ha, ya, yavara, la, these are not there. And yamaganana, these are not there in the jhal. Other than that, everything else. Yavarala, these are antasthaha, and yamagananama, they are ananasika. Antasthaha, ananasikam, vihaya, sarvani, vyanjanani. So, ta obviously is not ananasika or it is not antastha. So, atra sich plus ta takarah kutra jhal varnah. The sich plus ta chakarasya choku ittanena ककारस्य आदेशः तत्र ककारः भवति किं भवति तत्र ककार एव किल चकारस्य स्थाने ककारः सिक्त तथैव मुच् प्लस् किं भवति मुक्त एट टू 39 Justvam. Next is Sasajashoro. So here some have emailed me and asked me to that this is not very clear. So let's see what happens here. Can somebody explain this sutram? Avishka Bhagini.
When sakar is at the end of a pad, then it is replaced by raka, re. But it does not always happen. Usually, when it is when the sakar is preceded by ash and it is followed also by ash, then the ref will stay. Otherwise, there will be other sutrams that will be applied. This is what I have understood so far.
Yeah. But as far as this sutram is concerned, padanta sakarasya sajosh iti shabdasya cha ru iti adesha syat. Right. So now after this, few other things will might happen. Overriding now in the atra tripadi, yeah, tripadi yadasti antima त्रयः पादाः अष्टाध्यायी ग्रन्थे तत्र normally it is one way, right? So once you enter the tripadi, you have to keep on going forward. However, now here many times we find, for example, in the Jastva case also, Jastvam we saw here is 8 to 39 and Sasajashoru is 8 to 66. 8 to 39, once it is applied, so then we'll have to, Jastvam will apply, right, first. Then this will, Sasajashoru will apply later. But in this case, if we take this munis, then the Jastvam bhavitumarhati tatra. Because chalan jashvante iti asti is a sakara just varna jhal varna, then jashvante jash has to fill. Now last time, sometime back, a couple of weeks back we tried, so it did not, that's not going to work like that. Why? Because here jastam is not going to be applied. Now question is why? Now why? Because this is an apavada rupena bhavati. Apavada means what? Just like that Shuttam Shtutvam we saw. Shuttam is the first one, then the Shtutvam. And then what was the other one apavada there? Napadantornam. So this is apavada which will negate, not negate actually, it will hold. The Shtuttam, happening of the Shtuttam has to wait to know if there are any other apavada sutras following it. So if there is any apavada sutra, then the Shtuttam karyam na bhavati. It's not like Shtuttam happens, then again this changes. It doesn't work like that. The Shtuttam will be like, it will be kept on hold. In case there is an apavada sutra, then that needs to be applied. The Shtuttam will not be, that sutram will not apply. So similarly here, Jastam is there, but there is a Sasajasho Ruhu talking about this specifically the Sakara at the end of the Pada, which is considered as an Apavada, overriding. So this is waiting actually. This is because there is a Sasajasho Ruhu, Sakarasya Sandarbhe, Sakarasya Prasaktau, the Justvam will not happen. Then Sasajasho Ruhu will happen. Now, so similarly again there are other instances in the Tripadi also. These kind of things will happen. Padanta Sakarasya Sajush iti Shabdasya Charu iti Adesha Syat. Sakarasya, we saw that Padante Sakara asti atra Refasya Adesha Bhavati. Now what you said Ashi and all that, yes, this you said Ashi because this actually takes place in all the cases. If you just look at this Ashuru, means Paravarna Kopi Bhavatu, so this Sakarasya Refe Parivartanam Bhavati. Parantu there are other sutras following it which specify what should happen if there is, depending on the Paravarana. So this is Sajashasho Ruhu. Examples are there. We will wait for that, what will happen in the different conditions in the Paravarana. But now in this example, we are taking only, we are careful, we are not picking up the examples which affect this Refa here coming at the end of this. Refa will still happen, we will see the examples further. Now Munis iti.
Room means Refa Adesh.
Yeah.
Achha.
Yes. Were you able to listen to the recordings again, Mohdaya?
I will listen.
Yeah, please listen to them. It's important. If Mahodaya had one question last time about what is Tripadi, if anybody remembers in what class, I think it was like 3-4 weeks back, the beginning of the Hal Sandhi. If somebody remembers or finds out, they can find out what week or what is the recording, just post that in the group. So that will help. Where we discussed about the Tripadi and Sapada Saptadhyayi, what are they, what is the composition of the Ashtadhyayi. Briefly we touched that. So if somebody has remembers, just post it. That Lakshmi Kanmada can look up.
I have something I forget very quickly. Even though I read, I forget past reference.
That's fine. So it happens with Puna Abhyasaneva Dridam Bhavati. Tatra Sajashasho Ruhu. So na Padanta Sakarasya Sajashiti Ruhu iti Adeshaha. So Ashka Bhagini Punah Tatra Ruhu. Starting from Ruhu, can you explain? Now that is the question now Lakshmi Kantamauti is asking. How his room is Refa, so how is it Refa?
It is Ra plus
Refa, this is Refa plus room. Padanta Sakarasya sthane room adesha bhavati Refa plus Now in this Refa plus iti varnasya, what is iti varnasya lopa bhavati. So it is uccharanam na bhavati tasya, kevalam repasya uccharanam. Is the anunasika varna, right? It's anunasika form of u. Every swara has its anunasika counterpart. If you remember that we discussed or we studied that in the Shiksha also many times. The anunasika. So one is ananunasika or niranunasika, even all the swaras, akara, tasya anunasika and anunasika. This is anunasika. This is not same as anuswara. Bheda asti. Anunasikasya anuswarasya bheda. Kaha bheda? Suppose you write this and then anunasika and anuswara. Anuswara is this. Is anunasika is this. It is represented in Devanagari script like this. So bheda anayoho.
It is or Is it
Where? Where this one? In the row? No, it is.
Ra plus
Ra plus correct. Not a. So this is just I'm taking an example. Okay, let's take the example of U. U is ananunasika. This right? Anunasika and then there is, if you write with the anuswara. So how do you explain the difference between these two, anunasika and anuswara?
Is not anunasika. It is not like this.
Correct. Correct. This is anunasika. This is anunasika and this is anuswara. So, what is the difference? The difference. How do you explain the difference? Anyone?
Anunasika is purely through nose. It is shown through nose. It is said to be anunasika. I'm sorry. Anunasika.
This is Ostavya.
No, O is fine, but we are talking about anunasika and anuswara.
I am unable to correctly explain. Anunasika, of course.
So as they are in that name only. The name. If you look at the padam, so one is saying anunasika, one is saying anuswara. Swara is related to swara, right?
It is above the swara. Is it?
Above means following the swara. Where is this anunas?
Anu means to follow.
Follow. Anunasika. This where we say anunasika, this ucharanam, it is part of this swara. It is, whereas anuswara is a separate varana asti. Anuswara is separate varana. This is not this what we is showing as that dot on the top. It is not part of U. This is U plus anuswara. Whereas this anunasika is part of U. When we ucharanam bhavati, anunasika U, then it is at the same time it has to be pronounced. Whereas this anuswara, it is following it. There is a separate varana. So like that. U is to be pronounced, not very, but it is pronounced quickly, but still there is a separation. This is a very distinct varana. So this is not considered as a part of the swara. That is why if you look at...
Is it anunasika? Anunasika? Can we call it? Anunasika?
The first one is anunasika. This is anunasika. Ananunasika or niranunasika. It is not anunasika. So if you look at this one, the chart of letters, anuswara and visarga, they are shown separately here. Anuswara is not part of this swara pattika, swara talika. So here each swara has two variations, right? One is ananunasika, which is shown here, and another is anunasika. So which is part, which is a variation of that swara. But this anuswara is not the variation of the swara. It is an addition to the swara. Okay. So munis iti, in this example, padanta sakarasya. Now, everywhere it is important. Mukhyaha vishayah kayati padam ityukte kim iti chintaniyam. When everywhere in this examples, in sandhis, we have to very clearly understand. In the examples we are going to see this munis, haris, ramas. Why are we taking that munis, haris, ramas? Why are not saying munihi yatra? Is munihi is padam or not? Smriti begin. Munihi iti padam asti va nasti?
munihi padam asti.
Asti. Munihi iti padam asti. So why are we saying munis here? Why not munihi plus iti? Anyone? Suresh Mahodaya? Anushka Bhagini? Sheila Bhagini?
Munis, is it Prathama Ekvachan?
Right. Prathama Ekvachanam. Munihi is also Prathama Ekvachanam, right? Yes, anyone? So we'll have to start with Munihi is the final form. Antima Rupam asti prayoge yatha bhavati. Now, when we come to Vyakaranam, we'll have to start thinking what is the Pratipadikam, Moola Padam Tasya Kim asti, whether it is Nama Padam or Kriya Padam. Tasya Moola Padam Kim asti. Now we are talking about the examples. So, Udaharaneshu atra Nama Padaneva Svikriyante. We can take the Kriya Padam also, but here, for our examples here, we are taking the Namapada examples. Now in this example, Munis, now we have to start basically all the grammar prakriya, start either with, for the Namapada side they start with Pratipadikam, on the Kriyapadam side they start with?
So Pratipadikam is munis.
No, in the Kriyapada side they start with Dhatu, right? The Vyakarana Prakriya, the very topmost to begin with is what? For the Namapada side, the first step is start with the Pratipadikam. On the Kriyapada side, start with Dhatu. So now here, what is the Pratipadikam for this one, this word? Suresh Mahodaya?
Munis.
Now, what is the Pratipadikam?
Muni. Muni.
Muni.
Muni.
Muni is the Pratipadikam. So, these words we'll have to think starting with the Muni. All the any examples of Namapada you are taking, the Sandhi, Namapada, if you start, then the Pratipadikam is, we have to start with the Pratipadikam, Muni. Now, to make it up, this is not a Padam, it's a Pratipadikam. For a Padam, we will have to add, what we need to add? To make it a Padam?
Subantam.
धन्यवादः राजश्री भगिनी. सुप्रत्ययस्य योजनं करणीयम्. Now, which supratyaya depends. You can add whatever supratyaya you want. How many supratyayas are there?
Sapta, Ashta.
Ekavimshati. Supratyayas are there. So, now, depending on which form you are deriving, you can add any, whatever the supratyaya, depending on the vibhakti and vachanam. Now, in this examples, again we are taking the prathama vibhakti ekavachana supratyaya. So, prathama vibhakti ekavachana supratyaya kaha asti? Su. Then prathama vibhakti ekavachana supratyaya kaha? Su. This is like su. Mute, please. Let's take su iti prathama vibhakti ekavachana supratyaya. Now again, just like this ru, this su is also made up of sa plus u. Okay, sa plus u. Again, just like ru, in case of ru, this anunatika u ukarasya lopaha bhavati, only sa remains while adding to the prathama vibhakti ekavachanam. So in this case, what happens? Muni becomes munis. When we add this supratyaya, then it becomes padam. Agreed? Yeah, I see all of you nodding your head. Munis. So here, this is a padam now. So munis is a padam. So that is why, and this is a grammatical step, and it starts with the first step is pratipadikam. Then you add the supratyaya, start adding the supratyaya. That is the very first step. Dhatu also, you take the dhatu on the kriyapada side, take the dhatu and start adding the ting pratyaya. That's the very first step. Then other, as per the sutras, other karyas are going to happen. Right? Now, there is, when we add a supratyaya, it becomes munis. And there is no mention of visarga here. Remember that, it's important. Okay? There is no citing, or there is visarga is nowhere in sight. No, we don't see it. We don't see the visarga anywhere now. So this is where the approach to study the sandhis, it differs between different the approaches are there, right? So if you go by some means it comes from that Siddhanta Kaumudi, Laghu Siddhanta Kaumudi, those approaches. So they divide the Sandhi Prakaranam into Hal Sandhi, Visarga Sandhi, right? And giving the examples of now what happens if the Munihi is there, then you add after Munihi. Visarga is already there. After Munihi, then there is some other Paravarana is there. I, for example, Iti. And what will happen? Munihi plus Iti. Then Visarga becomes Ra. That becomes Muniriti. Then Munihi plus something Gacchati. Munir Gacchati bhavati. Munihi plus Karoti iti asti. Tadakyam bhavati. So they start with the Visarga and then start talking about what happens there. So that approach, and then the Prakarana gets divided into Sandhi Prakarana, gets into Visarga Sandhi, Hal Sandhi, and other things. But if you go with Ashtadhyayi approach, that that condition doesn't come into picture. Because Ashtadhyayi, we are following the Ashtadhyayi Sutra Krama. In the Siddhanta Kaumudi, the Sutra Krama is not followed. They go by the examples. So, but if you go by that route, for me at least, becomes very complicated and difficult to understand. Just like what happened with Stuttam, Shuttam. So there, what happens in between, to explain that, you have to hold and go back and forth between the sutras. It becomes confusing. So this Ashtadhyayi Krama, if we go properly, it becomes easy to understand. So when we are talking about this Munis Padante, when we are talking Padanta Sakarasya, why are we saying Padanta Sakarasya? Because it starts with the first step is Pratipadikam, Muni, and then we are adding the Supratyaya. That's it. There is no Visarga at all. Visarga hasn't come into play yet. Now, Munis. So any question here so far about what few words I said? No? Okay. So Munis, because this is important, you have to always remember now. These examples we are going to talk about many examples. What is this Munis? It is not a short form of Munihi. Do not think that when we say Ramas or Krishnas, it is not Krishna, it is not Ramaha. So, because that form has not, that Rupa has not formed yet. This is still at the Sakara stage. It is still at the Subanta stage. Not Visarga has not come into picture. So when we say Munis, it is just Munis. It is not Muni. And it is at the Subanta stages, adding the Supratyaya. So it is just there. So Padanta Sakarasya, now this is a Padanta. As soon as we add the Supratyaya, it becomes Padam. It doesn't have to be a Visarga. And Visarga is not here yet. So now Munis is a Padam. Then iti, that's a paravan. It could be anything. Now in this case, padante asti iti ru iti adesha bhavati rukarasya ru tasya refa eva tishtati tatra munir bhavati, and munir iti and tathaiva. So this becomes Munir iti, and the same thing. Munir gacchati. So now these are the final forms. So because in the usage, prayoge tatha uchyate, tha muniriti, munir gacchati. So these are the final forms we have. Now other examples we are not taking. For example, munihi, munis is the munis plus what happens if it is karoti after that. So that is also there. Padante sakaraha, sakarasya repa bhavati, anantaram kakara asti, munir plus karoti. But prayoge tatha nasti, munir karoti tatha nasti prayoge. So that is why we are avoiding those examples here. Well, those examples will follow later. What happens if there is a kakara later or chakara later? Munis plus chalati. What happens there?
For both Munis and Munihi, the Pratipadikam is Muni only, right?
Yes.
These are different forms of Prathama Vibhakti Ekavachana.
No, they are not different forms. So you should not think like that. They are alternate forms, you can think. Because Muni, Munis, see, actually, if you go by the Ashtadhyayi order, Muni is the Pratipadikam and Munis, when we add the Supratyaya, Pratama Vibhakti Ekavachanam, Munis is the word, that is the Pratama Vibhakti Ekavachan word. Now, later, at some point of time, it can turn into, this Sakara can turn into Visarga. In some cases it will not. Okay? Is that okay? Sakara.
Okay. So basically there are two different Vibhakti tables for Munis and Munihi.
No. For Vibhakti table is only for Muni, right? Vibhakti table will be only for the Pratipadikam. Now, thus, when we add the Supratyaya, Pratama Vibhakti Ekavachana, it becomes Munis. Now whether this Sakara will turn into Visarga or not, that depends on what is afterwards. What is the Paravarana? But at this stage, Sasashishu Ruhu, there is only Munis only. The Visarga might happen, may not happen, depending on the sutras which come later. So what is the Pratama Vibhakti Ekavachanam for Muni? If you just take Muni as an independent isolated word, it will be Munihi only. Munihi. We'll see further sutras, which will be clear in a moment. So now, Munis, at this stage, we have Paravarana iti, Munis plus iti, Munir iti, because it is turning into Refa. It will turn into Refa because Sasishu Ruhu. Okay. Now this is what 8 to 66. Now, Anantaram, there are few other sutras which apply to some very one isolated examples. We'll skip that and then we'll come to Rory now. Okay. Rory.
One more question. So for all the Vibhakti tables where we had the Visarga like Munihi, Matihi, Harihi, all of that these Haris, Munis, Matis, Pada, Lapla, something like that?
Yeah. They start with, in the Prakriya they start like this only. They start with the, for example, Hari.
Haris, okay.
First step is adding the Supratyaya. So, Haris. Now, this is not yet the Vibhakti table. This is not a Vibhakti table. It is the Prakriya Sopanam. There is one step in the derivation. The first step is adding the Supratyaya. At this step it is Haris. Okay. Now what happens next, we will see that. Now this is changing to Harir because of the Sajasho Ruhu. Okay. This Sa will not remain Sa, right? Sajasho Ruhu, it changes to Harir. Always, whether it is Muni or Rama and anything, it changes to Harir. Now before we move forward, let us tackle the other thing. Last time Suresh Mahadi asked, what about, like, I didn't ask Pratar, right? Pratar. Now there are, if you take Munis, it is changing to Munir iti bhavati atra. Now if you add iti, okay, Munir iti. Now what about Pratar? Pratar. Now note that the Pratipadikam here is Muni in this example. Now in this case, this pratar is the pratipadikam. The moola padameva refanta. It is not prata, karanta nasti, refa. So there is no swa added to this. This is the halanta padam, not the subha, not the ajanta padam, pratipadikam. Ajanta nasti, pratipadikam atra, halantameva. So this is a different case. So we need to understand this also clearly, that where the sa is added, and because of the subanta, refa is happening. And here what is happening in this pratar case, sup pratyaya comes there, because that is the usual step, right? Normal step for to use any pratipadikam to turn into a padam, sup pratyayasya yojanam bhavateva. So now in this case, pratar is the pratipadikam. Now sup pratyayasya yojanam bhavati, but the next step here is sup pratyayasya lopa bhavati. Whereas here the lopa is not happening because it is the ajanta pratipadikam. Here the sup pratyaya lopa bhavati. So here there is no question of adding the this shuru, because this is shuru refa bhavati iti nasti atra. Okay. Because this sa goes away. This original refa remains here. When the original refa remains, the refa which is coming because of sasasisho ruhu, that refa is not there. Okay. So this is another distinction one we have to keep in mind. So when we move forward in the example, this is helpful. So there are two types of refa coming at the end here. One is the original refa, right? They're like pratar, or even if you take the other examples we'll see. Right now, for example, pratar, this is the original refa, which is part of the pratipadikam. And this in the munir, this is not the refa which at the end, this is not the part of the pratipadikam. This refa is arising because of this sasajisho ruhu. So ruhu, this is turning to refa. Whereas in pratar, ru is not turning to refa. This is part of that pratipadikam only. So what happens in case of this original refa? What happens in case of this artificial refa, which is coming because of the ru turning into refa? Two different karyas can happen depending on what type of refa it is, original or artificial. Artificial because of when it is artificial, because it is coming because of this ru turning into refa when we add the sup pratyaya. But the original one is this pratar. There are other words also which have the original refa at the end. You might know many words are there. Like for example, swar. Swar means not a swaraha. Swar means swarga. Swaravayam swarganako trivastridashalaya amarkoshaha. So like swar is meaning of swar is swargaha, or heaven. So the swar is a moola refa. Similarly, there is gir, also girvani, girvana bharati, like that. Gir. So this is also original. Right? This is a pratipadikam, gir. So there are many words like that where they have the original refa there. The next one is ro-ri. Ro-ri, if you break this, break means if you like iko yanachi, what is iko there? It is shashti bhakti ekvachanam, iko yanaha, achi is the shashti bhakti, as achi is the saptami bhakti. Tha, ro-ri kim bhavati atra? रह रह इति पदस्य not रह रू रोह रोह इति रूपदस्य षष्ठी विभक्ति रोह री री इज रेफस्य सप्तमी विभक्ति राइट री यथा भगवती भवति इति अस्ति सप्तमी so basically what it says रेफस्य रेफे परे लोपः स्यात् रेफस्य रेफे परे लोपः स्यात् कस्य लोपः रकारस्य रेफस्य एव लोपः स्यात् तो पूर्ववर्णः रेफः अस्ति परवर्णः अपि रेफः अस्ति तदा पूर्वरेफस्य लोपः भवति इति अर्थः so take the example here Haris Rakshati. So, what happens here? Let's try. Okay. Jai Mohdaya. What happens? So, what is the first step? Haris plus Rakshati.
The sa turns into Refa.
So it changes to Refa.
Refa.
No, let's write this. So this changes to Refa. Okay. Harir Rakshati. Because of Sadasisho Ruham. Right? Now, the next is Rori. Now, Rori condition is satisfied here. So, what it says? Refaha Pura Varna. Paravarna api Refa atra. In this case, Asya Lopaha Bhavati. Okay. So, again we have this change.
Hari Rakshati.
Hari Rakshati. So, this is where it stands now. Okay. Now, this is not the final form. Now, then there is a next. So what happens here? There is a sutra called Dhralope Dirghonaha. And note that this comes in the Shashtadhyaya. This is Ashtadhyaya. We are already in the Tripadi. Now we are jumping to Shashtadhyaya. The Sutram. When the question comes, why we said that once we enter this Ashtadhyaya Tripadi, then we cannot go out into other sutras. But here we are going out. Why are we going out? No, it will be clear once we understand the sutra. Dhralope dirghonaha. So, if you asya padachchadanam kim bhavati Dhralope dirghaha anaha iti, right? Dirghaha anaha. What are the vibhaktis here? Dhralope. In the dra we have two varnas. What are the varnas? Dha and ra. What is dra? Dra means dha and ra. Lope. Lope means when that happens. Lope is the sati saptami atra. Lopa. Lopasya samaye. Yada lopa bhavati. Dhakarasya tatha refasya. Yada lopa bhavati. Tada anaha dirghaha syat. Iti artha. What is anaha? Yatha ikaha asti. Achaha ikaha. Tatha anaha means it is Shashti Bhakti of what? An pratyara. So this is the Shashti Bhakti of an. Okay. So dhakarasya refasya lope. When the dhakara and refa lopa happens of the dhakara and refa, then an pratyaharasya dirgha syat iti artha. So it is same thing as same study. ढकार रेफयोः लोपे पूर्वस्य अणः दीर्घः स्यात्। यत् पूर्वः अण्वर्णः भवति तस्य दीर्घः स्यात्। Now this sutra is in the Shatthadhyaya, and this is a dha. We'll ignore this in our example this case, because that is why this is in the Shatthadhyaya. This dha is not related to rori. Only this refa is related to rori, because dha, this sutra has to cover other cases also, other conditions also where the dha is involved. That is why this sutra is in the Shatthadhyaya. But it has to cover the refa case also. Not only dha case, it has to cover the refa case also. That is why he has made only one sutra. Dha lope. In both the cases, same thing is happening. So he has Panini. He means so Panini has kept only one sutra. Not why to make it two sutra, right? So he has just used dha and ra here. In case of dha, if the dha lopa happens or the refasya lopa bhavati, tada पूर्वः यः अण्वर्णः अस्ति तस्य दीर्घः भवति इति अर्थः. So that is the reason, because Panini, this sutra is saying the exclusively, means explicitly, not exclusively, explicitly saying refa here. He is calling out refa here. This sutra is very specifically calling this refa, mentioning refa here. That is why even if we are in the Tripadi, we need to jump into Shatthadhyaya. Okay? Because it is specifically talking about refa. If you are not talking about refa, then fine, we cannot go back here. But this sutra is specifically talking about refa. And this is, even though it is in Tripadi, this is talking about refa here. So we need to refer to this sutram, even though it is outside this Tripadi. Then only this makes sense. Dhakara refasya lopi. Now let's apply this condition here, this sutram here. So idanim kim bhavati refasya lopaha bhavatatra, right? Jai Mahoday, continue this. What happens now? Refasya lopa bhavat. So this sutra is saying yada refasya lopa bhavati tada purvasya an varnasya dirghah bhavati. Purva varnah ka asti atra refasya lopa bhavat. Refat purvah varnah ka.
The E becomes
E. Ikarah. Ikarah anvarna asti. First we have to check that. Is it an pratyahara asti kim?
Yes.
What are the words in the, what are the letters in the an?
Swaraha apicha hayvarla.
Huh?
A, I, U.
A, I, U. A, I, U, the first one. The first Maheshwara Sutram. A, I, U, you look. So that is an. So A, I, U. The three letters, they become dirgha. If one of whatever is there, that they become dirgha. Now this, so ikara becomes dirgha. So this changes to Hari Rakshati. Now here we have the final version. So first Haris Rakshati. So we have to start with the Pratipadikam. That step we are not mentioning here. This is what is Haris, Hari plus Sup. Not Sup, Hari plus Su. Hari plus Su changing to Haris. So that step we are not mentioning. Actually we have to, if you want to show the complete, all the sutra as per the sutra prakriya, we have to start with the Hari plus Su. And Hari plus Su changes to Haris. Then this we are coming into Sasajishoruhu. Then Haris plus Rakshati, Kimbhavati, Harir plus Rakshati. This becomes Harir plus Rakshati, Sasajishoruhu. Then Rori, we have the Hari plus Rakshati, Rori, this Refasya lopaha, Refe pare. Anantaram Dhalope dirghvanaha. तस्मात् सूत्रात् पूर्वस्य अण् वर्णस्य दीर्घः भवति परिरक्षति इति antimam rupam siddhyati. Now after this, if there are any sutra, it can affect, but now we know in the prayoge etadrisha prayoga asti parirakshati iti prayoga iti idanim vayam janimah etat antimam rupam asti iti. So let's take the vapusramyam. Kim bhavati vapusramyam? This is vapu. Vapu is the, what is vapu arthaha? Vapu is the pratipadikam. Vapu padasya arthaha kaha?
Father?
Huh?
Father?
Vapu.
Vapu is body.
Body, shariram.
Yeah.
So vapus changes to
Vapur.
vapur. This changes to rori. Rori ittanena lopa. Repasya lopa. Okay. And this becomes vapuramyam. So important note that everywhere we are taking the examples of where the paravarna is refer, because this, we want to apply this rori. Similarly, bhupatis rajate, kim bhavati? Shila Bhagini, kim bhavati? Bhupatis rajate.
Bhupati yoga rajate.
Bhupati?
Bhupati yoga next is Bhupati yoga rajate.
Not Bhupati, Bhupatir.
Bhupati after that Bhupati yoga rajate.
After this, correct.
Then ti dirgha bhavati.
Bhupati rajate. Now this one, what happens here? Swar rajyam. We know that I just now we discussed that swar means, what is swar? Swar is swarga. This is not ai swara. That is not. This is not swara. Swar is swargaha, swargalokaha. So this changes to swar is an avyam. This swar is avyam. Okay. So we are not starting with sakara. Note that this is an avyam, and this is a refa. This refa is not coming because of this sasajisho ruhu. This is the original refa, like pratar. Okay. This becomes swarajyam. Anantaram
Swarajyam.
किं भवति? अकारः अस्ति पूर्वम्. अकारस्य दीर्घः कः? अकारस्य दीर्घः आकारः. So this is the final one. Swarajyam. You might have heard this in many mantras, right? Swarajyam, Bhojyam, in the mantra pushpam, etc.
But usually we say Swarajyam, right? Or Alpa?
Yeah, that Swarajyam is a different word. Swarajya is Swasya Rajyam, my own country. Swarajya. But here Swarajyam, here is a Swargaloka. Note the difference here. This origin is different. Swar, not just swar. When you say Swarajyam, Swadeshaha, but Swarajyam, Swargalokaha. So in the mantras we are praying for the Swargaloka. Swarajyam, something else, Bhojam.
Mantra Pushpanjali, no? Mantra Pushpanjali.
Mantra Pushpam, yes. So some other example. Bhuvasva is different. That is not swar. For example, punaha. No, again, not punah. We should not always start it.
Mahadaya, one question. In an pratyahara, in the sutra, there are two options for an pratyahara. How do we decide whether it's first or the second?
Right. So that is a grammatical discussion, but most of the times that first na is used. The second na is used in a couple of cases. And that is based on the context only, and we can see that in the Bhashas. So it's used in the only one or two cases. So an is the first one. Okay, punas ramate becomes punar ramate. Now what will it become? Punaramate. Then
No.
Punaramate.
Punaramate.
Now we have antar is an avayam. किं भवति?
अन्ताराष्ट्रीय.
One second, let me confirm something here. Okay. Antar. Rory is same thing. Anta Australia. Okay. So these are some of the examples. You can find wherever there are repa.
Andarashtriya and Andarashtraha also.
Yeah, if you want to use different, whatever. If there is a repa later, it will happen. So examples of dhas are also there, but they are not relevant here in this case because they don't fall here. Because dha, okay, let's not discuss that right now. Next one. So we had this 8.3.14. Anantaram kimasti 8.3.15. Important one. Karavasanayor visarjaniyaha. किं भवति अत्र खर् अवसानयोः विसर्जनीयः. खरवसानयोः is a samasthapadam. If you break this, what happens here? If you break this, khar avasanayoho visarjaniyaha. This is the sutra. This karavasanayoho is a dvandva samasa. Means saptami bhakti. खरी परे अवसाने च रेफस्य विसर्गः आदेशः स्यात्. खरी परे and च अवसाने च रेफस्य विसर्गः आदेशात्. खरी परे means what? Both are in the saptami vibhakti ekavachanam, means these have to be paravarna or second condition. रेफस्य विसर्गः आदेशः स्यात्. रेफस्य यः अस्ति, रेफः अस्ति, तस्य विसर्गः आदेशः स्यात्. रेफस्य स्थाने विसर्गस्य आदेशः भवति. कदा? खरि-परे और अवसाने खर् वर्णः परवर्णः अस्ति चेत्. सो खर् प्रत्याहारे के वर्णाः सन्ति?
कर्कश व्यञ्जनानि. कर्कश.
हाँ. Which are the कर्कश व्यञ्जनास्?
ख, फ, छ, ठ, त, च, ट, ट, क, प.
Where are they? Like where is this kar here? Kar. So if you look at the this one, so where is the kar varna? Kar is this one. These two.
Yeah.
And
then shasasa.
Shashasa. Ushmana, except the hakara. Shashasa. Shashasa. And the first and second columns of the Vargiya Vyanjana. प्रथम द्वितीय स्तंभस्थ वर्णाः अनन्तरं शेषस वर्णाः उष्माणः. तत्र एते वर्णाः परवर्णाः परस्थाने अस्ति चेत् खरि-परे अवसाने च और रेफः अवसाने अस्ति च. अवसाने means at the end of a padam. End of a padam means after that there is nothing. There is no paravarna, or there is no paravarna at all. At the end of a sentence, or at the end of a ucharanam. This avasana also means, avasana means what? There is no samhita. There is no samhita means there is no proximity while talking, while speaking. Another word, next word will not be close enough. That is an avasanam. So khari-pare avasane cha refasya visargaha adesha. So take the refa, any refa here. So what happened here? Munis, we started like Muni was the pratipadikam. Again sup we added, sum we added pratama vyaktya ekavachana sup pratyaya munis. That changes to sasishoruhu munir. Now this refa is at the end, right? After, suppose there is nothing, after there is no paravana, we are not adding iti, asit, gacchati, nothing is there. So then what happens? This changes to visarjaniya. Okay? Munihi. So munihi iti prayogi asti, right? We don't use munis or munir. If there is no samhita, we use just muni, correct? Suresh Mahoday? Muni. We use muni. Hari, Krishna, Rama.
Kshamajam Mahoday, Krishna.
No, what I am saying, this is the final form, right? If it is avasana, means samhita nasti chet. If there is no letter or any word following it closely, or if it is at the end of a sentence, we use the visarga rupam, like this muni. We do not use munis or munir, correct?
Yeah, Mahoday, khari-pare, no? Khar pratyahara cha ta ta ka pa sha sa. So atra ra pare, no?
No. Avasane cha. What is after the refa you have to see. Ra is not the para. Ref.
Oh, okay.
Refasya pare.
Refasya pare, okay.
Refasya anantaram kim asti chintaniyam. Refa has happened because of the sasajusho ruhu, or it could be the original refa. It could be anything. It doesn't have to be Sasashijoru. It could be artificial refa or this original refa. So in both the cases, after the refa, if it is the refa is at the end, avasanam.
Avasani.
Huh? Avasani means what? Is that the question?
Yeah.
Drop down. Avasana is a drop.
Huh?
Drop, right?
Avishka Bhagini, I think I talked extensively now. What is Avasana? Avishka Bhagini.
Avasana means that there is nothing after
After the okay.
There is nothing after, or nothing after means it is either at the end of a sentence or end of the word. There is no other word following very closely to it, at least, right? Very close. Then only there is a samhita. When the next letter is following very closely, then we call it samhita, right? When then only there is a sandhi prasaktihi. Samhita. What is samhita?
Closeness.
Closeness by half matra. So if it is only if it is that close, then only the sandhi happens. Otherwise, sandhi will not happen. So here, avasane means it is at the end of a sentence. After that, totally it is a blank, nothing. Or if there is no samhita here. So that is avasana. So this example is avasanam. So in this case, what happens? Munir refa becomes visarga. This karavasana avasanayo visarjaniyaha. Because of that, refa is changing to visarga because it is in the avasanam. Okay. Now, khari pare example is see munis plus karoti. Because what? Because kharvarna. Kharvarna iti karanat munir refa bhavati refasya visarga parivartanam munihi karoti. Right? Munihi karoti. So refa changing to visarga munihi karoti. So we see these forms in the prayoga. Munihi karoti. Similarly, other example is punar. Punar being an avayam becomes punaha. The refasya avasane visargaha. We can add karoti also later if you want. Punar plus karoti similar. Punaha karoti. Punaha karoti. It doesn't change it to anything else. Punaha karoti. So we are taking these examples here. If you look at these examples here, the Sasashijoru examples we looked at, munis plus iti, munir iti, munis plus gacchati, munir gacchati. So in both the cases, what happened? It is not in the avasanam. So the refa is not in the avasanam. If it is avasanam, it would have changed to visarga, but it is not avasana. And similarly, in this case, khar varnaha pare nasti. Kharvarna pare asti chet, this would have changed to visarga. That is why in these examples, at this stage, we are not taking the karoti or avasana examples. Okay. But the Sasashijoru to this will happen anyway. After that, this refa changes to visarga in these examples. So first karavasa visarjaniya, before this Sasashijoru will work. Okay. Munis plus becomes munir, and then karavasana yoho visarjaniya, refa changes to munihi, and in this example munihi karoti. Okay, so far clear? Note in that karavasana yoho also there is a in the third varna, what is there? Shashasa. Shashasa is there. Right? Kapachatatava. So now we looked at different conditions here. So in this, if the swara is there, what is the final form? But the Sasishuru will happen. And then if the refa is next in the paravarna, purvarna will become refa because of the Sasishuru. Sasishuru always works. It always works. But after that, what is there? Then it depends. If it is a refa, then purva refasya lopaha anantaram dhalope dirghonattasya sutrat kim bhavati dirgha bhavati purvavarnasya anantaram खरवसाने अवसाने रेफस्य विसर्गे परिवर्तनम् अथवा खर वर्णः परेस्ति चेत् अपि विसर्गे परिवर्तनम्. So far these are good enough. Any questions? Because next one I will not take up right now because this is again a big discussion. Because we have still not covered all the conditions here, right? There are few more conditions. Because what happens if it is Ramaha, Ramas, Ramar, Agachati, Ramar, Asti. So those conditions are not yet covered. We are talking about, because we know that Ramar Asti, Ramaha Asti. How the Prayoga Katham Asti? We looked at that last time. Ramosti, Krishnosti, Shivoham, like that. There are other conditions which are not yet covered by these sutras so far. So that is going to be in the next sutra. Okay. So, but I think so far, I hope you all understand this. So Zeshuru karyam karoti, antam rori, if it is refa, paravarna asti chet kim bhavati, antaram kharvarna pare asti chet kim bhavati, purva refaha avasane asti chet kim bhavati, visarga bhavati. These are simple. Next we will see next week. So any questions so far? Nasti.